I was putting in my
the
finger.
floor this way, and there was just this blue glow in my peripheral vision as the previous girl was telling her story.
They're coming for you, Martha. They're coming for you. For the record, if you don't know your zombie movies, that was hilarious. So my question is this. Why are scary stories important?
They instill fear in the sound. They just when someone can't get you. In some sense, they can't get you scared, and sometimes these will help them feel fear.
There's feeling fear. That's important. It's also because, let's admit it, we like being scared. There's a certain thrill with it. We like knowing that there might be something under the bed. Now, if you just keep your foot this far from the edge, you won't get grabbed. But any further than that, you might lose a limb. But the funny thing about scary stories is this. They actually teach you a lot about the culture that you're in. Because what's scary in one culture isn't necessarily scary in another. So you end up learning a lot about people based on what they're afraid of. And if you're able to use that, then you're a politician. Or in the news. Or in the news, yes, that's also. So does anyone have a story, or do I need to do one real quick? Come on up.
Okay.
Oh, does he want to do it? It's your turn. You have. Do you need the mic?
No.
Okay. There was a tiny cow, everybody. That's really scary. Oh, child.
Well, you're not going to remember because it was a child.
I'm really scared now.
You know the most,
Tiny child.
you know the most frightening story you guys will ever hear?
What?
And it's true.
It's a boy.
No. The most frightening story, student loans. That's too much. You've gone too far. You've made a reel. Go ahead.
Once upon a time. It's powerful, isn't it? Many years ago, there was an old man. He decided that he's done working all day, doing whatever he did, and decided he was going to go adventuring into the woods. He got his old horse, and he started popping in the woods.
He's got a lot of horses.
An old horse, which is a very old horse and a very old man. Well, it's getting cold and the night's falling, so he decides he needs to stop for the night. Well, he looks around in the woods and he can't find a place to camp until he comes across this old abandoned cottage. It seems like a good idea at the time, you know? It always does. He stopped for the night, decided, I'm going to sleep here. No one's been here for years, it seems. It's abandoned. So he decides, I'm going to sleep here. Crawls into bed, this old abandoned cottage, and he looks around, and he notices that whoever lived here last left everything. They left the bed, the dresser, the clothes in the closet, and an old portrait on the wall of an ugly old lady. Now this old lady, in normal portraits, people stand up, they're stately, sometimes they smile, but no, not this one. This old lady had a hunched back, gnarled fingers, scowl on her face. And the weirdest thing were her eyes, which were pitch black. And she was looking through the portrait. The pose was really awkward and ugly, and it looked like she was glaring right at him all night long. And he decided, this is creepy. Old men don't really give a shit, so he went to sleep. Well, the next morning he wakes up and he thinks, well, that sucked. Because all night long he tossed and he turned because he kept having dreams about that ugly old woman. She would climb out of the portrait, walk right up to him, and
Zach.
Are you Well, this old man decided that sucked. The worst night of sleep he ever had, including his wedding night to his own ugly old lady. Well, he opens his eyes and he stretches, and he rubs the sleep out of his eyes, and he looks around the room at the rickety old dresser, the clothes in the closet, and he looks at the wall where the portrait was. They scare everyone.
Oh, he's one of the staff members here. He's trying to make sure we're alive, because he probably heard that.
I know.
The sad thing is they're used to my scream, but not other people.
Well, he's looking at the rickety old dresser, the clothes in the closet, his clothes on the floor, and he looks to where the portrait is. Only it's not a portrait. It's a window.
For the record, that's going to be fun for anyone who's sleeping on the first floor of the hotel. Like me!
I almost cried, I think.
Okay, so we all have something to look forward to. I'm sorry, that was just beautiful. You have made my entire night.
Whenever I stream, I just do it like repeated verse, and it just sounds really weird sometimes.
I really want you to be in a scary movie. I will watch that. Does anyone else have a story? Please make kids scream. That's the new goal for every story.
Should we all move up so you have more people to victimize?
Did I hear you say his name is Zach?
Yes. My name's
Yes,
Zach,
everyone
yes.
makes Zach scream. Are you ready? Okay, everybody.
Okay, so you might have read this online, but it's one of my favorites. So, one night it was late, and I woke up and I hadn't gone to sleep very well. Something was making me nauseous, but that's normal, I guess. So I woke up and I thought it was thundering. There was this. And it was messing me up. I couldn't sleep. It was hard to breathe. And anyway, I looked out the window and there was a bright, shiny moon through the window. What could this noise be? Oh well. So I went back to bed and tried to sleep, but about a few minutes later, it happened again. Well, this time it sounded more like footsteps. There was somebody in the house. So I grabbed my bat and ran up, and there was nobody in the house. I turned on every light, checked every room, and there was nobody there. Well, I went back to bed thinking, okay, I'm delirious, I haven't had any sleep in 2 days. So I put my bat down, and I went back to sleep. Tried. It happened a third time. This time it was closer, and above me. There was somebody in the attic? Really? What burglar gets in the attic? There's just dusty old photos up there. So I ran up and got to the attic, and at this point I was very annoyed. This person was in my attic at midnight. So I yanked the attic stairs down, and I yelled, "Get out of my attic!" When he came down, obviously. So I went up there with a flashlight. Still all my old photographs, all my old books, but there was nobody up there. Fine, okay, I'm still hearing things. So I went back to bed. And it happened a fourth time. I turned on the lamp. I was just gonna yell at the ceiling. I wasn't getting out of bed this time. And I looked up.
Are you a Winchester? Okay, get up here. Are you going to make yourself scream, though? Is that my question?
No, I don't think I am going to make myself scream, but this is actually very creepy. There's this creepy pasta that I listened to on YouTube, and this, there's my squid. Okay. That's
It is now the table's way.
I listened to it a while ago. Like, I mean, I will try to do my best representation of what this actually is. This is actually really creepy. I don't know where it starts out, but I'll try. So one night, I walked into my son's room and I was checking on him, and asked him what was going on because I heard something coming down there, and he said, "Dad, there's lightning outside my window." And I didn't remember there being anything. I didn't remember there being thunder, or I didn't remember there being any sound of, like, there was no rain there. There was nothing, and I didn't remember hearing weather on the rain or anything. But what I did hear news on was there was an escaped, I don't know how to put this, child photographer who would take pictures of children as they were sleeping.
Creeper.
Yes,
Yeah.
creeper. There's an escaped creeper. And I guess I found that not very well, and this just kept happening for a couple days. So one night, I went into my son's room and asked him if the lightning was still outside the window, and he said, "No, it's now in my closet."
That just got weird. Oh.
Yeah, creepy.
So the frightening thing about that is that could happen.
That could happen. That is a real thing that could happen.
I like ghost stories. Are you coming up to tell a story?
Okay.
Come
One
on.
pictures, just ask. Okay.
Do you need the mic? It's on the mic. Okay. You must turn it on.
No. No.
Midway. There.
All right.
Sounded like a heartbeat for a second.
So I had a very long day at work. Had to deal with angry customers just every night. I swear. I came home to find my girlfriend folding our child. I don't know what bothers me more. The fact that someone had dug up my girlfriend and our unborn child, or the fact that someone put them in my house.
That's messed up.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that you went there or that my first reaction is to laugh.
I just shivered. Okay.
There's got to be a special place and a very warm spot for me. Does anyone else have a story?
Can I go yet?
You can, please. Are you going to send me to hell again? Because I'm going to tell you, it's not a very long trip for me.
So So I was putting my my child to sleep.
Tap it.
Oh. Don't beat it like it owes you money.
Somebody
Where
else.
it's connected with the wire is where it is. Yeah, tapping.
Oh God, it's probably got something to do with that right there. Just trying to look it off. Oh, no, it wasn't. Okay, it's just not gonna. I don't think it has to end right there. So
Try saying
if it's finished.
check. Can we just
Check.
Very good.
Yeah, that's good.
It makes lightning across the backsplash.
Does it?
Oh.
That makes us all feel safe.
So I was putting my 5-year-old son to sleep, and he asked me, "Daddy, can you check underneath the bed for monsters?" Being a decent father, I looked underneath and saw my son, who said, "Daddy, there's someone on top of my bed."
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, you look much younger in the dark, so I was very concerned about you having a 5-year-old son.
I don't actually. Both the ones I pulled were made up.
Oh, I know, but I'm still going with this. This is where my head's going. I'm a fangirl. There's a fandom and a canon for everything.
My ear hurts still.
Your ear hurts? I'm
Yes.
sorry, Zach. We love hearing you scream. Here's the great thing about small panels. They learn your name. And has anyone here ever worked in a haunted house? Okay, so you
I
probably...
was a girl in a well.
You're a girl. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I stay away.
I just love it.
My
Okay.
hair used to be like down to my knees.
I ended up working in the doll part, and it was great. I showed up, I was wearing my normal clothes. They're like, "That's perfect, you don't even need a costume." And I said, "Jerks." And I went to my doll part. But the thing is, once we find out your name, if you ever want to mess with your friends in a haunted house, say their name around the afters, because then they'll yell it, and then the others start yelling it the entire way through. You're going to be a very personalized, oh God, experience. So make sure you do that to Zach.
Okay. But I think I actually have a story for you guys.
Then come up and tell us the
So,
story.
it's very short. I mean, this is based off something that actually happened. I mean, it was over something that really wasn't that scary, right? But, so, I'm staying over at my friend's house while my parents go to another state to look for us a house. And we're both sitting there, we're just like looking out at the ceiling and admiring the wall, the paint on the wall. And I decide I'm gonna get up and go get something to eat. And I go into there, and all I hear from the other room is a very loud screech. And I walk back in, and there's nothing but a mess of blood and bones sitting on the couch.
That's what happens when you don't watch TV like normal people.
But I mean, like, so what actually happened was, he was playing Five Nights at Freddy's. He was playing Five Nights at Freddy's. I walk into the kitchen to get something to eat, and I hear a very loud screech from the other room. And that turns out he was jump scared. But yeah.
You guys okay with the reading one?
Sure.
Okay, get up here. After that, I'll tell another one. What was that little voice? Oh, gosh.
Look up Arkansas stories. There's a mountain called Ghost Mountain in Fayetteville. Seems that a certain fellow who lived back in 1930 in an old log house on top of a mountain southwest of Drake Field Airport in Fayetteville had a tendency to get inebriated. One night, the man came home very drunk. His wife was caring for their sick child who was crying incessantly. The man became so angry at the baby for keeping him awake that he jumped out of bed, grabbed the baby, stumbled outside, and threw the baby down the well.
wife, of course, went into hysterics. She grabbed the well rope and jumped in to save the child. The horrible father took an axe and cut the rope, leaving his wife and child in the well. He left town, never to be seen again. It was said that when the moon is full, you can walk there near that well and hear the screams of the woman and child.
So the signs say never shake a baby, but it says nothing about putting them in a well.
Oh.
I just want to say that in this guy's defense. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. Once upon a time. I'm so proud of you guys. Once upon a time, there was a woman, and she was, as all women seem to be tonight in every story, absolutely gorgeous. She had fair skin, dark ebony hair, lips that were so soft that everyone thought just what it would be like to touch them. Needless to say, wherever she went, people watched. And in spite of this, she could have had anyone she wanted. She could have married anyone she wanted. But her heart belonged to a man who she was absolutely faithful to, even though he had no money, he had no family, he had nothing to offer her but his heart. And she was to take that. She loved him and she wanted to be with him. And he was over the moon. He was excited for about 3 months. You see, love can get you so far. But when you ate nothing except for plain rice, day after day, you start to get a little bit upset. And every day he would go out and he would work. He would come back and she would be there smiling, saying, "Welcome home, dear. I've made you dinner." And every night it was the same thing. And he started to get to where he had once loved that smiling face. But whenever she started to greet him at the door, "Welcome home, dear. I made you dinner," he started to get more and more upset. So much to the point that he began to look for something better. In spite of the fact that he had the most beautiful woman waiting at home for him, he began to look for someone else, and he found it. He found a rich merchant's daughter who wasn't necessarily as wonderful as his wife, but she had something that his wife didn't. She came with a large paper. So he began to try to see her, and he began to seduce her, and, well, let's just say it was a beautiful love story. But that night, whenever he came home, reeking of another woman, his wife said nothing. She smiled. "Welcome home, dear. I made you dinner." This went on, and it was starting to drive him mad. He knew that she knew what was going on, and she didn't even have the decency to get angry. What was wrong with this woman? Why didn't she just react? Wasn't she sick of the same thing over and over? Wasn't she upset that they didn't have anything? Was it just him? Finally, he ended up being told by the father of the rich merchant's girl that it was such a shame that they didn't have a ring. It was such a terrible thing that his wife had never been able to have a son. Only he had a son to take over the family business. Only his daughter was married. Too bad you've already got a wife. The man took the not-so-subtle hint. He went out, he bought a poison, and he came home. And that night, whenever his wife said, "Welcome home, dear. I made you dinner," as she turned around and began making the meal, he put just a few drop in her dish. And when she turned back around, she thought nothing of it, and she began to eat, smile, and ask her darling how his day was. But just a few bites in, she started to gasp. And she reached up for him, and just as she did, he pulled away. And he watched as she fell to the floor. He watched as she started crying at her throat. And whenever whenever she started to spit up blood, he'd had enough. He ran out of the home. He ran to the arms of the other woman, never telling her what had been done, but assuring her that soon they would be okay. The next day, he returned home expecting to find the corpse of his wife. But instead, he saw her just lying there. Her body was still moving, she was still breathing, but howling. But then when she lifted her head, part of her face seemed to just be sad. I'll come home, dear. I made you dinner. He was so petrified by this, he didn't know what to do. He acted out of fear. He grabbed the nearest thing he could, and he just began hitting her again and again and again, until there wasn't much left to hit. He buried the body out back, and then, after washing himself, went straight away to the merchant's daughter, assuring her that soon they would be back. The problem is that in the meantime, he still had to sleep. Now, he wouldn't return home. He couldn't return home. It just brought back too many memories. Come home, dear. I made you dinner. Every night when he slept, he kept hearing that voice, that incessant voice, that sweet, smiling face, and then the not so sweet face. But they were both her. Until one day, whenever he was sitting outside with his lover, he began to hear something just betrayal. This going on and on until whenever he would lie down at night. Betrayal. I love you. Betrayal. I'm not screaming, don't worry.
Okay.
But
It's
the
just like,
voice
what?
kept trudging closer and closer, and it wasn't just the voice. Eventually, he started to see things. At first, he didn't really think much of it. Just something in the window as he passed. Some familiarity with the cloth that would go by. One day, after he got out of bed, he saw something there. Betrayal. Betrayal. I love you. Betrayal. I love you. Why are you doing this? I made you dinner. And the problem with this is it kept getting closer and closer until finally it would start reaching out for him, and he would always pull away. But no one else saw it, no matter what happened. And he was going crazy, but he couldn't let her stop. He couldn't. Until the day of his wedding, whenever he stood in front of his new bride, whose face was covered, and he began to hear something. Betrayal. Betrayal. I loved you. Betrayal. He lifted up the veil, and he saw the face of his dead wife, and without even thinking, he reached for his new father-in-law's sword, cut off her head, and she fell. But whenever he looked down, it was the merchant's daughter. It wasn't his wife, but the voice. Betrayal. Betrayal. Scared of what he had done, he dropped the sword and he began running. He ran and he ran all the way until he was home. He slammed the door shut and he held it against the people who were coming for him. They just kept hitting the door and he was trying to force it shut whenever he kept hearing betrayal. Betrayal. I made you dinner. Betrayal. Whenever he opened the door, instead of the father-in-law, he saw his wife again, the dead wife. Reacting, he grabbed the nearest thing he could, slammed it over his head until he hit the floor and began to die from the rubble. don't worry, darling. I'm still here. The man was so upset, he began to not run away from the voice. He began to trace it. Betrayal. Betrayal. And she always seemed to be just a little ahead of him. Until finally she stopped and turned around. Betrayal. Betrayal. He jumped out towards her, and just as he was about to grab her throat, it went straight through her, and he realized he was falling. He'd been so intent on catching her, he never noticed that there was a cliff there. He never noticed what was going on until he finally felt arms slide around his neck. Betrayal. Betrayal. I love you. Betrayal. Nice little thing there. Don't kill your wife.
Okay,
And if you do, make sure you do it correctly. Call it Ghostbusters. The original, not the new.
yeah.
Okay, is anyone else next?
Well, I've got a story, like one on my phone that I found, but
Is that or you or your friend?
it's kind of long. I think we'll let Taylor go first. I'm gonna let Taylor go ahead. I might go last or second last. This one's kind of long.
You're so nice. If you kill me, I won't come after you after you're dead.
You see, that's true friendship right there.
Right.
The microphone is the true scary thing here.
I love you, Zach.
Don't worry, the friend marriages are tomorrow morning. You can come and make it official there.
Really?
Yeah, there actually are rings to put on it.
Well,
Put on the crappiest cosplays that we get.
That'll be great because I'm hosting it, so yeah.
I'll show up as
sure, why not?
Let's do it.
Yes, I'll show up as Billy Mays.
You have to go as the shampoo guy.
Well, this is a story based on a really crappy book I wrote in Wattpad, but whatever. It's it fits into this category of horror, so. There was a man named Felix. He worked at the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, who a lot of the time he always worked at his office. He was in charge of taking the bad things down, such as websites or groups